What a turnaround, eh? What do we think? It's still got a ways to go. It's still got a ways to go, but you finally, there's some stuff. There's some things. There's some artwork. There's Chelsea-related stuff on the screen. And no more waiting around for who the next man to be is gonna be. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Enzo Clock! It's here in all of its glory. Oh, look at him go. Look at him smiling. It's not looping. We'll work on that. Why is it not looping? There we go. It's looping now. It's looking good, no? It's looking fine and dandy. We'll, for the time being, I guess we'll just have him up in the corner, because why not? Why not? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. That was the very first, the first ever official Enzo Clock. I'm working on the pronunciation because I don't think Enzo Clock sounds, even though his name's Enzo Clock sounds a little, you know, it doesn't sound, it's Enzo Clock sounds a bit stiff. Do you know what I'm saying? So, Enzo Clock, I feel like has a bit more of a ring to it. I think a lot of people are saying Enzo Time, but not many people like Time. Tuchel Time, Frankie Time, they were never really as well received as you know, Potter Clock, Potcher Clock. It's the time, like, it's Enzo Time. I just don't like it. Oh, that's the wrong one. Where is it? It's one step back. It's Enzo Time, baby! You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's room for improvement. I personally like Enzo Clock. It's not my favorite, but you know, it's one of those things where we're just gonna have to get used to it. Potter Clock, you know, Tuchel Time was the original, then it was Potter Clock, Frankie Time, Potcher Clock. They're all weird when you hear them for the first time, so bear with me. Yeah, don't worry, he's not going to be here long. Exactly. No. Anyway, welcome to the stream. Please do smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and hit the bell notification to be notified of any future content on the channel. The setup, as I just said, is looking glorious, I think. I need to do a little bit more decorating, obviously. These two will actually be going on there. I'm going to get a sofa. I'm going to get a mustard yellow sofa to, you know, pay homage to the yellow aspects of my channel. But that's about it. And then we're going to get some Chelsea player shirts, framed shirts, whatever. And then a few other bits. The grass is gone. The grass has gone. I think it looks so much better. I think it looks, and I don't care what anyone says. I think it looks so much better. Do we not agree? Do we not agree? The grass looked like shit. It really did. Let me change the colors on here. We are going to get into the details of everything, but I think by now everyone knows what's going on. We'll go through it a little bit more, but this was more so just as like Enzo Clock induction ceremony. Do you know what I mean? So we can go a bit darker blue. So, but then it just looks like the lights have gone out. I like to have a bit of magenta because then my hair's lit up a little bit. And ooh, very nice. But I don't know. We'll have to play around a bit. I've got these, which isn't plugged in at the moment. I've got these ones. They're usually the ones that light up the most of the room. Do you know what I'm saying? So we'll just, you know, we'll play it by ear. I'm gonna paint the rest of the room that color as well. So it's gonna be vibey. It's gonna be good. I'm finally getting there. It's finally getting there. It should be up and running and ready to go by the beginning of the season. So you know, do a stream. Do a stream for what? What, decorating the actual... I'll do a decorating stream. Once I've got everything ready to go, I'll do a decorating stream so you guys can have your say of where things should go and everything like that. But it's ends o'clock, baby. It's ends o'clock. I must say, I'm much like everyone else. I think Potch O'Clock had an absolute ring to it. I just... oh, do you want to see it? So, I mean, you can kind of see what this one is, surely. It's a little dusty, because I've had it for so long. This is the, let me get that off the screen for now. This is the Munich 2012 print. Very nice indeed. It's seen better days, but from a distance. The trousers, have you seen me? You don't like me shorts? They're very snazzy shorts, I'll have you know. And then, it doesn't get much better than this. What an absolute beauty this is. Absolutely top-notch stuff. With all the details of the goal. Absolutely going like there, and then the other one's going like there. I'm going to get a shelf with a load of other shit on it as well. But it looks good. It looks good. It's coming along. Finally established what's going on in the middle. But we're getting there. We're getting there. I would say definitely going to be doing a decoration stream. So if you want, we're going to do some votes and polls and stuff so that we know what's going where. I'm not just going to put everything there like willy-nilly. But yeah, I like it. I like it. I like the colour. I think it was a bit hit and miss. It was a bit hit and miss. I do have a Discord. Again, the link for that is in the description, where I put a poll up so you could have had your say. That this was the winning colour out of a three colour swatches. And so I went with this one. I like it personally. I think it looks really good. It looks really good. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining, we're going to get into it now. But it's ends o'clock. It is ends o'clock. And with that said, with the pleasantries out the way, the grass that I know, I was molesting that grass like you wouldn't believe as well, wasn't I? I was one with the grass. It just wasn't to be. But here we go. Chelsea have agreed to appoint Enzo Maresca as new head coach. It's a here we go from Fabrizio Romano. He understands that the agreement is now done on contract, valid until June of 2029. With a 5-year deal. Now, personally, I've seen a lot of people's takes. I think I think at this point we've all been so negative about, you know, any manager that comes in. Potter was one thing. Hang on. Let's hear what Road King has to say.
Ends o'clock is cool as well. However, at this point, we all need to stay positive and support the new coach. The fact he's Italian and a Pep student gives me hope.
And there we go. I was about to say pretty much the exact same thing. Road King, thank you very much for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. It's everyone has said the same thing. I think at this point we're all really concerned. We've seen what this board, what these owners are doing, what they're capable of doing, and that's not a lot other than ballsing every single thing up. I think that they've seen someone who's worked with Pep in the past. The bald meme is obviously going to run rampant. I think the fact that he is bald obviously is a key thing in the image that that Clear Lake and Blueco want is someone that commands respect both visually and hopefully on the pitch and on the training ground. And if he looks like Pep, if he smells like Pep, then it might as well be Pep, is what they think. Is that the case? I'm not so sure. I'm not sold myself personally. At the same time, I'm absolutely not coming into this negatively. I did a TikTok yesterday where I was like, oh, here we go. 5-year deal. I think the only thing I don't like about this, well, I don't like a lot of things about this, but I'm trying not to be negative, but it's so hard not to pick out the negatives when there's so many to pick out. There's so many to pick out. I know they want someone young, but what they mean, we've established now, what they mean by young is someone who is looking for an opportunity and will say yes at any and all opportunities that they're given. At the same time, there's no discrediting what he's capable of, what he's shown. He's obviously won silverware. I think he won the Premier League 2, if I'm not mistaken. He won the Championship. He's been at City. He's worked under Pep. He's won the Championship, albeit with easily the best side in the Championship last season. I'm just concerned that this board, the sporting directors, the board themselves, the owners, they haven't learnt from their mistakes, and that is what is necessarily the difference between this and Potter. It is exactly the same in the sense that you are giving someone who has a little bit of clout, a little bit of stock at the moment, a little bit of a foundation, and you're just betting on black or red or whatever. This is like putting all the chips on this just for it to work, or for it to, you're hoping that it works. There is such high risk with a monumental reward, a huge reward if this pays off. But again and again and again, it's back to square one every single time when you try these tactics and you're trying to be different. You're trying to seem like you're educated and you're trying to seem like you know what you're doing, but you leave it to Winstanley and to what's his fucking name, Stuart. You leave it to them, or there comes a time where how many fucking appointments are they going to be allowed to take part in? It makes no sense that time after time after time we go for these people and think, yeah, it might work. It might work. There were so many opportunities for other managers who are a bit more proven. If you're going to go with someone who hasn't really got any experience and is trying to get their foot in the door of being a top manager, at least go with someone that we know. They tried that with Lampard. It obviously didn't work, and that was very, very part-time, very, very spur of the moment. Excuse the lack of a better term. I've seen people mentioning Cesc Fabregas over and over again. What's the difference? What would you have to lose? I know that there is a bit more of an awareness of Enzo Maresca as someone who is capable of going that extra distance to achieve the heights. People aren't speculating whether or not Enzo Maresca is capable of doing that. Is this the right time? Is this the right time to be taking such a big risk on someone who, for the most part, hasn't really done enough to warrant a job as monumental as Chelsea Football Club? And you can say that in a negative or a positive way. I think that statement can be seen in both good and bad. It's monumentally, it's a huge opportunity for any manager to come in. We are, for the most part, until these guys came in, a serial winning side. So any manager that would come into Stamford Bridge would, for the most part, win a cup, win a trophy, win silverware. Whereas since these owners have taken over, it seems to have diminished in its quality, in its potential. It's not necessarily a guarantee for these managers. And whilst Enzo Maresca must be salivating, licking his lips at the idea of 5 years at this prestigious club, it's not going to be easy. I would be remiss if I didn't think it would go badly. But at the same time, I'm hopeful that it goes well. Is the latter a possibility? I'm not so sure. But at the same time, I'm here for it. I'm backing him the whole way. I think it's one of those situations where if we get off on the right foot, rather, or the wrong foot, however way you want to look at it, but if you get off on the right foot, it's got potential. It's got cult manager written all over it, doesn't it? There is potential for this to be a real cult following, a real cult relationship with this manager, with this man, where he can potentially take us back to the heights. It may well as well be of significance. It may well also be of, what's the word? It may well work to the advantage of Enzo Maresca that we have only gotten Conference League and not Europa League or Champions League. I don't think if we got Champions League that we'd be in this situation. I do think now that Manchester United have snatched that Europa League spot, from us, that maybe a Conference League run would work better for Enzo Maresca in his first year as Chelsea manager or head coach, whatever it is. Not only that, he has the potential to come in and be the first guy to ever secure for a club the full shebang, the full run of titles in Europe. He would have been the one to secure the bag for Chelsea to have won the Champions League, the Europa League, the Conference League. Not himself, but he's the one to seal the deal. Do you know what I'm saying? So whether you see that as potential pressure on him is one thing. The fact of the matter is this is pressure like you've never seen before on a manager that has, again, worked at Parma, but otherwise worked at Leicester and taken easily, from what I've been told and what I've seen and what I've heard from other streams and everything, with Alex on playback, he's had people on today that were saying, a Leicester season ticket holder saying that by no means was it overly impressive because Leicester had the just out and out the best team in the league. I've heard time after time and time again that the style of play is boring. He's not necessarily good with substitutions. Both impact substitutions or the potential to make said impact substitutions, but at the same time, he's a bit of it's a bit of a situation where he doesn't know when to make the substitutions, what substitutions to make, which for the most part, as Chelsea fans, it's not really an issue for us because we've been through this. We've been through this with Potter, with Tuchel in his last stint, in his last season or the end of that season. Pochettino didn't know when to make a substitution. It was always a little too late. So the fact that Maresca's like that, I'm not too concerned because we've seen it so many times before. His lack of plan B does worry me, says Brad Harvey. Yeah, I've seen that one as well. It's the substitutions aren't great. The timing of the substitutions aren't great, and the ability to come up with a plan B when plan A doesn't work is allegedly not good. It's not good news at all. We obviously saw, this is all I had prepared all of this not knowing that it was going to be announced today, but you can see it's no doubt that Enzo wants the job. The agreements are all done and everything like that. But also, Enzo Maresca is thought to have found favour in the Chelsea hierarchy through detailing plans on how to help Enzo Fernandez flourish at Stamford Bridge. Maresca mode. We might have to come up with a new one, but for the time being, it is Enzo o'clock. Again, I think someone, again on the playback, someone was, I think it might have been Alex was querying as to whether or not it would be a bit of a Harry Winks situation under Maresca, and that's the style of play that Enzo Fernandez would find himself playing. It's hard to say. It's hard to say because, you know, that role includes a lot of running, a lot of tracking, and a lot of movement, which we aren't yet sort of privy to, or we haven't seen too much of as Chelsea fans specifically, because Enzo's had his hernia, he's had his issues. We're gonna have to play it by ear. We're gonna have to see what happens, more or less. Once the season begins. Pre-season will be a good way to see, hopefully. Is it Copa America? Is that going on this year? It'll be an insight as to, you know, how Enzo gets on with that. He has been chosen. He is going to be in that. So we'll be able to see Enzo, how much he's not improved, but how much he's regained his abilities since his operation. So it's another positive. It's obviously a player that has caused many a debate as of late because of that final 5 games under Mauricio Pochettino, where it seemed to all click. It all seemed to all come together once Enzo Fernandez was nowhere to be seen. Is it going to be a case of, you know, the inverted role being null and void with us having to include Enzo Fernandez because of the price we paid? I'm not so sure. Maresca has been someone who will play the inverted role from what I saw on that masterclass YouTube video. It will be interesting, to say the least, to see how Enzo Fernandez is utilised, though, at the same time. The 5-year contract, it's... I don't know. It's... There has to be... There's been rumours. There has to be stipulations in place where the board or the owners can call it a day sooner rather than later without relying on said 5 years being played out and not having to, you know, play out the full, what's the word? Severance package. Not having to play that full severance package like we're going to likely have to do with Pochettino, like we did with Potter. That's the one thing that they're learning, potentially. Is it something they've actually learned, though? I'm not entirely sure. It seems like a fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you know, shame on me, or whatever it is. Fool me once, never fool me again. As was that J. Cole song? It's so nonsensical to come up with a 5-year contract. Is just so much so much pressure, but at the same time, from what I've heard as well, Maresca was the one that pushed for the 5-year because of course he did. Of course he did. Luke, you say that the sporting directors have to get this appointment right. If not, we're coming for them. Many would argue that we should have come for them earlier, but all the same, nothing seems to be done, even though they make mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. It's a continuous cycle of shite that we seem to see. Again, I'm casting no judgments on Maresca. I'm not casting any judgments on him as a manager until he starts to really balls up. I'm saying this to you now. I'm saying this to you now. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. It's, they've come for him. They've come for him. They've given him the job. They've asked for him to have the job. You want the job? Here you go. What do you want? Here you go. We can't criticize him until we see enough to suggest otherwise. And I don't even like the fact that people are coming into this already of like, how many games until it's Enzo out and all this. And I know it's obviously inevitable that once we're 10th after 5 games or whatever, we've won 2 games, drawn 3, and lost the rest. It's inevitable that Chelsea fans will do what Chelsea fans do these days since the new ownership, and just they're just going to go for his neck as soon as they can. As soon as they can. It's hard to imagine where we're going to be by the halfway mark of the season. It's hard to even guarantee if he will be here because of, the reception, both from the players and the fans, obviously. It does just stink, doesn't it, of Potter 2. It's just Potter 2 over and over again. Or again, for the second time is what I'm trying to say. It feels like we've seen this story play out in the past. Is the style of play different enough from Graham Potter that there's going to be any real rewards? He speaks better English, but I also saw that clip of him saying that the boys gave it everything. So we might be just where we left off with Graham Potter after all. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm trying to find... there was this as well. Enzo Maresca's obsession with ball possession, quality football, dominating the game, his knowledge of elite football despite being a young manager. All of this made the difference for Chelsea to pick him. And you know full well that the Bowley or Egbarley more so told the guys that went and interviewed him and held the crunch talks. Would you ask him? And you know that the guys that went were like, oh, for God's sake. It's a bit embarrassing even asking this, but Egbarley wants to know. But, Bidad Egbarley wants to know, do you play like Pep? What was that? Sorry? Did you just ask what I think? Yeah. Do you want to repeat yourself? Do you play like Pep Guardiola? I'm sorry. I'm not sure I heard what you said. Did you just say, do I play like Pep Guardiola? No, it's not us asking necessarily, but so, Egbarley wants to know if you play like, Pep Guardiola. And then I can imagine him being a bit like, fuck off. I know exactly why you've got me here. I know exactly why you've got me here. The similarities, and I have heard as well. And they were so embarrassed to ask, weren't they? They were like, it's Pep. You know Pep Guardiola? He's bald as well. You kind of look like Pep. Certainly would be nice if you played like Pep. But the fact of the matter is, what I've heard as well from Leicester fans and all over the place as well is that he does share similar styles to that of one Pep Guardiola. Does that mean we're going to see that style of play? Or does that mean we're going to really get that replicative performance from Enzo Maresca as though it were Pep? And they're banking on it being the case. I think that's why we got him on a 5-year deal as well, is because if he absolutely bangs, if he pops off as an absolute gem, like we have finally, when you're just like, digging away, it's a bit more fucking, bit more iron. Oh, it's a bit of lapis lazuli. It's a bit of fucking, copper. Oh, for Christ's sake, it's some redstone. And then you get that glimmer of blue in the distance, and you're like, we've hit diamond, baby! Come on, yes! It's Enzo Clock! That's what they'll be fucking saying. That's what they'll be saying. If we're in the top 4 come Christmas... if we're in the top 4 by Christmas... they'll be thinking, yes, come on. And then it goes all downhill from there. There's just so many. I would love to have been a fly on the wall. A fly on that wall during those conversations, because you just know. You just know there was some really not condescending questions, but some very American questions from those in particular. I don't mean all Americans. I mean those Americans those 2 Americans in particular, who they haven't got a fucking Scooby what they're doing. None of them. They don't know. They don't understand. I would have gone with them for the Marbella trip. Top 4. Telling Alex. Oh, I don't mean him. He doesn't count, does he? I mean two Americans in particular. Wait, I am right in... Where is... He hasn't even got a Wikipedia, the bum. Does he? Barley doesn't even have a Wikipedia. Top 4 of what? I don't even know anymore. It's been so long. After termination of his contract with Barcelona, United want Xavi? Is that one working out, or is that some sort of bait? I don't. But at the end of the day, I just don't know. I just don't know where this is going to go. Let's keep one before we wrap this up. I'm going to look up any more sort of like incoming news. Ten Hag is staying at United. It did seem as though it was. I think that's more or less it. Timo Werner's looking to stay at Tottenham. But other than that, it's interesting. It's just interesting. I'm fully invested in what's to come, more or less. I'm invested. I'm interested in what's to come. I think there's as many ways that this could go well as there is it could go wrong. It could absolutely go wrong, so badly wrong. But the issue there is we've seen it all before. We've seen it happen. What's the worst that can happen? The same again. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a little bit one of those situations where it's like, oh, and it didn't work. Wow, we were. Whereas I do believe this is the final chance that the sporting directors have, much like everyone else has said. But I agree. I do agree that this is the final chance, the final straw, where it's got to work. It's got to work. How much time do you give him? That's another question. How much time do you give him before you start criticizing as well? That's another question. I think, for the most part, I think Chelsea fans have been quite reactionary, yes, but also justified in our criticisms when it came to Pochettino, when it came to Potter. We were I don't know, with Tuchel towards the end as well, it was a little bit dicey, wasn't it? It was a little bit toxic. I, for one, was never Tuchel out, but I could see why people were at the end. It's just interesting, isn't it, to see where this is going to go. I completely agree that there's probably more ways it could go wrong than more ways it could go right. It could it could either work, is the one way that it could happen, to be a positive. The other way is we get more injuries. We have more player problems. We have more, this. We've got more that. We got, the fans don't take to him very well. The style of play is boring, and it's so easy to point out the negatives that once the positives start showing themselves, it can only. We need to hit the ground running. It's as simple as that. We need to hit the ground running. What we need is a pre-season like we had last season, but Enzo takes it into the new season, as opposed to what Pochettino did, where Nkunku got injured, and that was like, well, there goes the whole plan. Let's just go to plan B or plan C. We have to stick to a plan. There has to be a few plans if there are, issues that go awry. But we can't just change the plan immediately based on Palmer getting injured. God forbid if Palmer gets injured. But if Palmer gets injured, or Nkunku gets injured again, or this or that, Osimhen comes in and he gets injured, it's gonna take time. It's not really something that Chelsea fans are always willing to give. But at the same time, time will tell where this goes. I will give it... My early prediction is we will know exactly where we are with this guy, with Enzo Maresca. We will know exactly where we are early November. And I know that's really early. But I think the either the cracks or the foundations will start to show by early November. I don't even think it gets to Christmas before there's either positives or criticisms. It's going to be one or the other. But November will know this guy absolutely fucking bangs and he's the guy. Or, conversely, it's going to be, what a mistake. What an absolute error this was, getting this guy in. But we shall see. We shall see. Not with a 5-year contract, the payout will be stupid. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if there has to be some sort of stipulation in play. There has to be. There's no way these guys are so stupid as to do what we've done with Potter and then do the same again and think, yeah, he's going to be here for 5 years. You thought that with Potter. You thought that with Potter. It didn't work. Yes, we went with a 2 2-year contract with Pochettino. That didn't work. You know, how many times does it have to not work for them to be like, yeah, maybe we need to go for a different approach here? Maybe, just maybe, this plan we've been going with for the first 3 years isn't the way forward. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like, I'm trying to find the analogy for it, but if it is like, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again, that doesn't apply here. That doesn't apply to this situation. How many times does it need to go wrong before you're like, do you know what? Maybe just go the other way. Again, I'm backing the manager from day one. Seems like a nice guy. Seems like he knows what he's doing at the levels that he's been working at. It's just going to be interesting to see what level that portrays to in the Premier League, because I saw someone, it's all speculation, but I've seen people say that, as in Leicester fans have said, the ones that have, you know, watched pretty much every game, it's more or less that they would have finished maybe like between like 10th and 12th with that Leicester side. So if it clicks with these players at Chelsea, then I don't know. It might work. A nice guy. I mean, you don't want a complete bastard of a manager. You don't mind a little bit of a bastard, but at the same time, a complete and utter bastard of a manager. And I don't mean in the sense of a shithouse. I mean, like, Sarri was a bit of a bastard, wasn't he? He was like a proper, like, you know, didn't really care what people thought. Whereas Potter definitely cared. I feel like Frank definitely also kind of cared. Tuchel probably cared. Whereas with someone like Sarri, Conte, Mourinho, bastards, a lot of them, they did not care. But at the same time, a nice guy, sort of personality manager, is that going to, you know, I know what I might be saying is quite, you know, complete waffle for the most part, but it is like, depends what kind of personality you think will be successful with this Chelsea side. Do you need a bit of one of them? Do you need a bit of a see you next Tuesday? I'm trying to keep this stream as PG as possible. But at the same time, yeah. Tell Alex to look at the camera when his guests are speaking. Man looked asleep. He does that thing where he's just like... He's doing it today when he was talking. He was just like, like proper, like trying to crack his neck. But yeah, it's he's not very good at looking engaged when his guests are talking, does he? I will never forget Sarri walking towards the tunnel at Wembley. Yeah, not happy days, weird days. Still looks like a hostage video. It does. I don't know who told him. You know, who hasn't told him at this point not to? Who hasn't told him at this point to iron his sheet? If that makes sense, it's so creased. Luke, I just want to focus on England and the Euros now. The appointment is done. Enjoy the summer and worry about what's to come next season. Exactly. For me, I had such little enthusiasm by the time it came about to actually do any content on this. This will most likely be this, and I'm going to post a This Week at Chelsea video in like a couple of days, maybe tomorrow, but maybe the day after tomorrow, just kind of encapsulating all the news over the last week before I'm away for a bit. But at the same time, this just, it's interesting to cover a little bit because it's, you know, we just don't know where this is going to go. We just don't know where this is going to go. And only time will tell. With that said, please do smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and hit the bell notification to be notified of any future content on the channel. I will be live 7 p.m. on twitch.tv/HarryCFXI. The link should be on my YouTube somewhere, if not in my link tree. Hopefully in my description. I must have put it there, but I think I've forgotten. I will be playing a new game. Follow the Discord as well in the description. The game is Detroit Become Human. Oh, we'll see how it goes. With that said, thank you so much for watching. It's been a good turnout again. The next stream will be on Friday, I think, maybe Tuesday. Because we're a little bit out of sync. It was supposed to be yesterday, but it was a bank holiday, and I couldn't be asked. It will probably be on Thursday. And don't forget, before you all fuck off, an 8-hour stream on Saturday. It's a here we go. It's a here we go 8,000 subscriber celebration on this channel. Again, keep your eyes peeled for that. We're going to start at like 1 p.m., I think. And finish with the Champions League final. It's a bit of a cop-out, but it's the only way I could really get around doing it when I'm away shortly. So stay tuned. 8 hours. It's coming. It's coming. Keep your eyes peeled. Plenty of updates on Discord as well. Again, please smash the like button. We're nearly at 100 likes. Get there as soon as possible. But again, thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. See you at 7 p.m. For the gaming stream. Twitch.tv/HarryCFXI. See you later. Good night. Nearly forgot to do it one last time. Hey! It's 10 o'clock. See you later.